Master Sergeant Wayne Evans, Lackland Air Force Base, Texas. Thank you for your books and your ministry. Did you feel as a child that you were called to minister?
You know, I really can't say that I did. I was a senior in high school before that thought ever crossed my mind. Now, I did grow up in a church. I was very active in the church. I became a follower of Christ very early in my life. But I never had the thought of, going into ministry until I was a senior in high school. And even then, it was very fuzzy to me, what kind of ministry this would be. But I did sense it as a senior in high school. And so, as time went on, I began to sense more and more that, I was to serve in the church context. And that's where I ended up. And I never, ever thought about an emphasis in marriage and family. I mean, not until I actually got into a church and began working and then found out that this is where people are hurting, is with their marriages and family. So I kind of, was pushed into the counseling part of all of this after I got on the field, as it were. But it's been a very, very rewarding ministry through the years. And the books are just an overflow of what has happened in my counseling office and my ministry with people through the years. And I think, again, that's why the books are so popular, is that people can identify with them because I'm sharing the stories of real-life people. Obviously, I changed their names and places and that sort of thing, but people can identify with the stories because they're real stories.
And I can imagine what a positive impact it would have on a church community by strengthening the families within that community.
Yeah, and that's if you can strengthen marriages, then it's going to affect the children, because nothing is more important for children than to have a mother and daddy who love each other, who work through their difficulties, who show a spirit of teamwork and serving each other. I mean, it creates tremendous security in a child's heart when they see a mother and father who love each other. So I spend the bulk of my time in marriage enrichment, because I believe it's the greatest thing I can do for the children of this generation is to help their mothers and daddies get their marriages together. So I do 30 marriage seminars a year. They are Saturday events, and I do them all, and they're listed on the website you mentioned, 5lovelanguages.com. And they're held primarily in churches, and they're regional events. We have 50 or 60 churches represented at every one of these events, 600 to 1,600 people who come to them. And the whole day is just on marriage and trying to give people practical ideas they can go home and implement in their relationship.
You just answered Marsha Bowles' question in Texas, where she asked if you had a live speaking schedule. And she can see that information at the 5lovelanguages.com.
Yes, and she can also go to my website, GaryChapman.org. That's my personal website, and they're listed there as well.
I can't help but wonder, in the communication of these languages, can you branch off and use some of this in business and just your interaction with people in general?
Yes, I think you can. In fact, I have a guy right now who's working on a little profile to be used in business and helping people in a business setting to realize, in the business setting, we probably would not call it love. We would call it appreciation.
Right.
But if you feel appreciated in your work setting, you're far more likely to be productive, and you're far more likely to stay there, and to really invest yourself in it if you feel appreciated. But if you don't feel appreciated in your workplace, eventually you're looking for another place to work. I mean, let's face it. So yes, I think it has a lot of implications for the workplace.
Especially when they do the surveys, the people in general, the coworkers, tend to put appreciation or sense of appreciation as primary above salary.
Right.
Right. To get them to know that they're appreciated, because they may be appreciated and not know it. To get them to know it, I could imagine, would be an immeasurable positive thing for a company.
Yeah, I really think that's true, and I've spoken to some companies and helped them implement this kind of thing. And as I said, we're developing a whole area where some other people are going to be doing this. I don't have time to do it because of what I do, but we are developing that right now. So yeah, it has a lot of implication in the workplace.
Loretta Biondi, St. Paul, Minnesota. I find as I get older, my love language preference seems to change from acts of service to quality time. Is this normal for a preference to change?
Well, I think typically the love language stays with you for a lifetime. But if your primary love language and secondary are very close, if you get enough of your primary, then the secondary seems to be more important. So in this case, if acts of service is her primary language and quality time the secondary language, if she's getting enough acts of service, and as you get older, maybe you need less of that, because you don't have as many things, you kind of got some of your needs met, then quality time could become, it seems to be more important. I don't think the love language actually changes, but you can, if the primary is met, the secondary becomes more important.
Now, how does someone get their love language? Are you born with this love language? Is it
Steve, yeah, I'm often asked that question. I really don't have a good answer. It's like a lot of other personality traits. The whole question of, is this nature or is this nurture? Did we inherit this or did we learn this early? I do know that you can tell a child's primary love language by the age of 3 if you observe their behavior, how they respond to other people. You can tell their love language by the age of 3, most children. So, whether it's inherited or whether we learn it very early, it certainly can be identified at quite an early age.